Look around today. Walk down the street, scroll online, talk to the men in your life, yourself included. Do you feel it? That sense of something missing, adrift, a quiet or not so quiet anxiety? We talk a lot about the challenges society faces, and rightly so. But today, I want to look inward. I want to explore a complex, often uncomfortable truth. Is there a fundamental problem with modern man, particularly here in the West? And can ancient patterns deep within our shared human psyche help us understand why? Now, before anyone gets defensive, and trust me, this topic can bring that out. This isn't about blaming or painting every single man with the same brush. It's about observation, about exploring patterns that seem prevalent and asking tough questions about their consequences. For centuries, cultures understood masculinity through powerful, archetypal figures: the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover. Not as rigid boxes, but as energies, potentials, ways of being in the world. What happens when modern life, with its comfort, its complexity, its digital distractions, and its often contradictory expectations, leaves these core masculine energies underdeveloped, distorted, or even completely abandoned? That's where we find, I believe, the heart of the problem. Let's break it down archetype by archetype. First, the king. In his healthy form, the king is the center. He represents order, structure, responsibility, integrity. He blesses his kingdom, whether that's his family, his work, his community, or simply his own inner world, with stability and purpose. He knows his domain, he owns his decisions, and he stands for something solid. The problem arises when the king energy is absent or distorted. You get two main shadow forms: the weakling king and the tyrant king. The weakling king is perhaps the most pervasive issue today. This is the man who refuses the throne of his own life. He avoids responsibility, abdicates decision-making, feels powerless against external circumstances, and lacks a clear vision or purpose for his own existence. He's adrift, waiting for someone or something else to provide direction or validation. Think of the chronic procrastinator, the man stuck in perpetual adolescence, the one who complains about his life but takes no concrete steps to change it. His kingdom, his potential, his relationships, his inner world falls into neglect and chaos. Then there's the tyrant king. This is the insecure man who grasps for power, often out of fear of being the weakling. He controls, micromanages, dominates, and rules through insecurity and fear, not strength and integrity. His order is brittle and based on forcing others into submission rather than inspiring loyalty through his character. He might be overly rigid, unable to delegate, or prone to angry outbursts when his perceived authority is challenged. The modern problem? We see so many men defaulting to either the passive weakling, comfortable in inertia and distraction, or the insecure tyrant, hiding fear behind aggression or control. The healthy king, owning his space and responsibility with calm integrity, seems increasingly rare. Next, the warrior. The healthy warrior is about purpose, discipline, courage, and the ability to act effectively in the world. He sets boundaries, defends what he values, faces challenges head-on, and channels his energy into focused action. He fights for something, not just against something. When the warrior energy is missing or broken, we see the masochist warrior and the sadist warrior. The masochist warrior cannot stand up for himself or what he believes in. He struggles to set boundaries, allows others to disrespect him, avoids necessary conflict at all costs, and may even unconsciously seek out situations where he is passive or harmed. He lacks the inner fire and discipline to pursue goals vigorously or defend his own space. He feels like a victim of life rather than an agent within it. Think of the man who is a pushover, who avoids confrontation to his detriment, or who lacks the discipline to stick to difficult goals. The sadist warrior, on the other hand, is the aggressive energy untethered from purpose or principle. This is the man who fights without a noble cause, who dominates and bullies, who uses aggression to feel powerful, often preying on perceived weakness in others. His energy is destructive, not protective or directed. This can manifest as online aggression, road rage, domestic abuse, or simply a constant low-level hostility towards the world. His fight is rooted in his own insecurity and anger. Modern society, with its emphasis on comfort and conflict avoidance in some spheres and anonymous aggression in others, like online, seems to cultivate these shadows. We see men who can't stand up for themselves, or men whose only expression of strength is misplaced aggression. The disciplined, purposeful warrior is often lost. The magician archetype is about knowledge, insight, transformation, and detachment for the sake of perspective. The healthy magician seeks understanding, masters skills, can see patterns others miss, and uses his knowledge wisely to bring about positive change or understanding. He can look at things objectively and guide transformation. The shadow magician manifests as the innocent or the manipulator. The innocent or naive magician is unwilling or unable to gain necessary knowledge or insight into himself or the world. He remains gullible, easily misled, avoids uncomfortable truths, and lacks the critical thinking skills to navigate complexity. He doesn't do the inner work to understand his own motivations or the outer work to understand reality. He might be perpetually caught off guard, unable to learn from mistakes, or simply lost in delusion. The manipulator magician uses knowledge, insight, and influence for selfish or deceitful ends. He understands systems, psychology, or technology, but applies this understanding to control, deceive, or exploit others for personal gain. He lacks integrity and uses his magic to create illusions or coerce rather than to illuminate or transform honestly. Think of the con artist, the gaslighter, the person who twists information for control. In our age of information overload and digital echo chambers, the magician is particularly challenged. It's easy to remain naive, simply consuming whatever appears on our feed, or, conversely, to use information and technology to create false realities or manipulate others. The dedication to true insight, wisdom, and ethical understanding, the healthy magician's path, requires effort that can be easily bypassed. Finally, the lover. This archetype is about passion, connection, sensuality, empathy, and creativity. The healthy lover connects deeply with himself, with others, with the world, and with his passions. He finds life vibrant, appreciates beauty, can be intimate and vulnerable, and pours his energy into things he genuinely cares about. When the lover energy is broken, we see the addict lover or the impotent lover. The addict lover seeks connection and intensity, but is fundamentally disconnected from his own core, and thus seeks it externally in shallow or destructive ways. This manifests as addiction to substances, pornography, validation, likes, comments, consumerism, or thrill-seeking. Anything that provides an intense but fleeting external sensation to fill an inner void. His love is directed outwards in an unhealthy, grasping way, rather than flowing from an inner source of connection and self-worth. The impotent lover is shut down, unable to feel deeply or connect authentically. He might be emotionally unavailable, afraid of intimacy, detached from his own body and feelings, or simply unable to find passion or joy in life. He may go through the motions, but lacks the spark, the vulnerability, and the capacity for deep connection that makes life meaningful. Modern Western society bombards us with shallow, external forms of connection and gratification, while often discouraging true vulnerability and deep presence. This environment feeds the shadow lover, making addiction easy and accessible, while true, heartfelt connection feels risky and difficult. The vibrant, connected, passionate lover seems increasingly stifled. So, when we look at the problems men face today, the rising rates of anxiety and depression, the struggles with identity and purpose, the difficulties in forming deep relationships, the feeling of being lost or ineffective, we can see how these connect to the suppression or distortion of these fundamental masculine energies. It's not just about being weak or toxic. It's about a lack of integration. A man needs access to the purposeful action of the warrior, guided by the wisdom of the magician, led by the responsible vision of the king, and fueled by the connection and passion of the lover. When these energies are stuck in their shadow forms, weakling, masochist, naive, addict, the man suffers. His relationships suffer. His work suffers. His community suffers. A society full of men disconnected from their healthy masculine core, wrestling with these shadow energies, is a society that feels off, drifting, lacking direction and depth. But here's the crucial part. These aren't permanent states. Archetypes represent potentials. The problem isn't masculinity itself. It's the disconnect from its healthy, integrated forms. The path forward isn't about rejecting who we are, but about reclaiming these energies. It starts with awareness, recognizing the weakling when he avoids responsibility, noticing the masochist when he shrinks from necessary conflict, challenging the naive when he accepts easy answers, questioning the addict when he reaches for distraction instead of connection. It requires conscious effort. Seeking responsibility, the king; pursuing discipline and facing challenges, the warrior; seeking genuine understanding and self-awareness, the magician; and daring to connect deeply and find true passion. It's not an easy journey, especially in a world that often makes the shadow paths feel more convenient. But recognizing the ancient patterns of these archetypes can be a powerful first step in understanding where we've gone wrong and charting a course back towards a more integrated, purposeful, and fulfilling way of being. What are your thoughts on this? Do you recognize these patterns in yourself or in the men around you? Which of these shadow archetypes feels most prevalent today? Let me know in the comments below. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And if you want to explore these deeper patterns of human experience, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching. This is a complex conversation, but one I believe is vital for men and for society as a whole. Until next time.